left off in the last video, we showed you our Echo Stage interview video, which got us our first gig. This first gig was Paul Van Dyk. It was the very next week.
This made us a little nervous because he's a trance artist, and at that time we had only seen or been familiar with DJ recaps for big room and house DJs. So we knew it was going to be a little bit of a test for us. So now we're going to show you the video that we made, and then we're going to break it down for y'all.
Yeah.
If you see the smiles, on people's faces, they're real. It's nothing that's kind of like, hyped up by some marketing plan or something. It's just purely the music.
Alright, so to start off here, I'm just going to run through it quickly, but all the way up until 16 seconds is your classic setup shots, close, wide, show what the venue is, how the venue looks, B-roll. We had one masking transition here, and we're not going to go into a full thing about how to do that. You can just YouTube masking transition.
So essentially, the lady gave us a song when she gave us Paul Van Dyk as our first gig, and me and Warren listened to it. And we're like, we can work with this. It's not typical, it's not big room, it's not house, but we can work with it. And then we realized that there's basically a 13-second pause before the trance drop. And we were really worried because we're like, how do we just fill this void? Like, what can we do? How can we spice this up? How can we keep this engaging? Because shots, alone aren't going to do that, no matter how hype it is. Me and Warren, both knew, Paul Van Dyk was a very generational artist, a very transient figure in the trance scene. So we're like, all right, how do we fill silence with some noise? So we're like, why don't we see if there's any interviews of Paul Van Dyk or something that shows that he is this figure that we know him to be. Me and Warren ran through YouTube, and probably on the third page, we found this.
This took a while.
Yeah, as I was saying, we weren't sure if this was going to work, and we really got lucky right when we were about to give up. So we found this perfect clip of him speaking about his music and why he's passionate about it and what he does it for, and we're like, this is perfect, this is what's going to fill the void. Warren can go into a little more detail about the work that goes behind this, because obviously it wasn't a perfect interview clip, didn't have some music and stuff.
We were searching through YouTube and we found this clip that we liked where he said the perfect quote of what we were trying to portray for our artistic vision, but it had music in the background. This is something just to talk about in general, or when we started off, is each video included hours of us watching tutorials and learning new things. So when you're starting off, each video you're gonna have to keep learning new things. So I had no idea that you could download Adobe Audition and remove the background music from this quote.
If you have a vision, do it. Don't settle just because there's some road bumps. And that's the first thing we learned. We were like, we want this in there. Warren was like, I'm going to take it on myself and I'm going to learn Adobe Audition so I can get this background music out of there so that this interview part can be perfect. And I think that's the biggest thing when starting off, is you have to take those jumps and you have to go through a little bit of that struggle and annoyance to make it perfect and to make it what you want.
If you see the smiles, on people's faces, they're real. It's nothing that's kind of hyped up by some marketing plan or something. It's just purely the music.
This was a situation where we were working for Echo Stage and we weren't friends with the artist, or we didn't have access to the artist hours before the show. We were just there for the show. He didn't even know we were shooting for him because we were shooting for Echo Stage. So we couldn't ask him for a quote. This little thing is what set this video apart in our opinion, and that's why we're spending so much time on it. These are 1-minute recaps now with Instagram. If you can find one little thing to make a difference, then
separate it from other people.
Alright, so with this portion, At the time, I had learned how to like do cool transitions, use wide shots, show the DJ jumping up and down, and I was really cohesive in that way. But I would say this is the first video where that I learned the power of 85 and the power of using close-in shots. And like this is something that Ryan helped me with and told me like, okay, when we use this quote, we need to have 85 shots and show motion. I think this is a great example of like when to use this focal length.
He's a generational artist, so there was a bunch of variety in the type of people. There was young people, old people, a bunch of different races, so we wanted to highlight that because that's what he was saying with his music. It speaks to everyone.
So slow-mo is the key also with these shots because that almost evokes more emotion and just epicness to it. Like if you put these same exact shots in normal speed, I don't think it would have the same effect. Actually, I know it wouldn't have the same effect.
When you're trying to convey emotion, slow-mo puts the video at a pace where your eyes can pick up and perceive what nuances and exactly what's happening.
So after the quote section of the video, we get to what I call the quintessential moment before the drop. It's the 4 or 5 seconds before the drop. Okay, so at this part, the beat is crescendoing. In my mind, I was thinking that I needed to do something to pull the viewer in and crescendo with them. So I picked a scene of Paul about to jump. So like that's essentially him crescendoing his body, so he's jumping, and then also just adding a zoom so that you feel like you're going into it. And then it switches to another angle of him during that exact same jump, so there's the connection and transition, and then it's just all out bliss when the drop hits. Alright, so on the drop, this was our first DJ show, so of course we were going to hit the CO2 right when it hits, and it works with the sequence of shots that we led up to that. And then of course the rest of the drop is going to be high energy, climactic moments, confetti, people jumping up and down. I think something unique that we did in this video and we weren't afraid to do was use 85 on the drop. So we didn't really hit any crazy transitions until this moment at 43, which I mean is debatable if it's crazy, but it's
let us know in the comments.
Yeah, just let us know.
And essentially going through the shots, we realized, oh, we have this sick shot of someone filming on their phone, and we also have a matching shot, not exactly matching, but it was a similar background. So this is what we've been talking about using transitions in the right moment. So we thought it would be unique to show the film, or show the show through the phone, and then show the show as we saw it.
The person holding the phone, it's shot on 85, so we were able to get that detail of the phone, but we weren't rotating the camera for this shot. That was done in post. So again, just adding a little something to it. I knew that we were gonna go through the phone into the artist, so like why not add a little rotation to it so it just trips you out a little bit, goes with the trance feel of trippiness. So with this shot of Paul looking at us too, it's always cool when you can get some type of intimate or unique moment of the artist, like acknowledging the camera or like acknowledging you. It's like, you know, it's kind of funny. It could be cutesy. It could be anything. Like that was a big thing with the Chainsmokers recaps. Like they would turn around and acknowledge the camera. Like stuff like that. People want to see it because you already expect the artist to be doing their show, and but you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes or like under the DJ table too. Like we got clips like that also. Like anything that's a little bit different or cutesy or like the artist going out of their realm.
It shows their humanity so that way you as the audience can better relate to them. Yeah, so that was the conclusion of the first DJ video edit we ever made. And just one thing we want to circle back on is, I mean, if you have an opportunity, just always say yes. Like we definitely left like we were hyped, but we were also nervous. We're like, oh snap, like trance. We're not as familiar with this, like we'd never seen it before, but because we took the opportunity and it pushed us to, expand our own creativity.
Yeah, so always say yes. So if you have an opportunity, say yes. Any artist, no matter how big, how small, anything. Like if you're just starting out, you just need to shoot and learn things. This video, right away, we learned how to use Adobe Audition and remove audio. Each video, pretty much at the beginning, I was learning something new each time, so it's always worth it, even if you're like, oh, like you have some type of judgment about that artist or you don't want to, just shoot it and you'll learn something. You can't fully learn without just going and doing it. Like you can only shoot so much by yourself at home or with your friends. Like you need to actually be there and learn. Just things like that.
Big thing too is it's a learn as you go profession. and job. I mean, like even Warren Day's toured around the world with artists, but he's still learning each and every day. So don't be nervous or scared if you're not 100% off the rip, because we definitely weren't. We definitely probably got lucky on, you know, a couple of these things, or knowing, oh wow, we had it in 120 for that one because we forgot to switch it back or something like that. So don't be like, oh, I need to be perfect if I'm going to go out there. You definitely don't. You just need to have drive and passion and want to do it. And then if you bring that into the filming and into the editing studio, then there's a good chance it's going to work out.
Now that we completed our first video, it comes the next step of actually submitting it to the person we're working for, and that comes along with a lot of stress and anxiety, and just, you don't know. I mean, this was our first time, so.
We weren't sure if they were going to like it, if they were going to hate it. We just really didn't even know how this process worked. We didn't know, oh, are they going to send us back notes or anything?
Yeah, no clue.
And essentially what happened was the creative director, the lady who gave us this opportunity, was like, wow, this is like really great. And like, one thing you want to make sure, like, sorry to interrupt my own self, but you want to deliver it as timely as you can. So I think we gave this one back in like, what, 3 or 4 days after?
Quicker. I think it was sent on the third day.
Yeah, so
2 days editing, sent on the third day.
yeah, so that's one thing, because that shows like, okay, this person's hustling, so that's what you want to show off the rip. They don't want to be like, okay, well, where's this video at?
Yeah, you never want them to hit you up asking for the video, like, so it should just be on your mind, like, I want to surprise them with the video, with how fast I can get it to them. It doesn't have to be one day, like, a lot of people think that, but just as fast as you can do it.
As fast as you can do it with the quality that you want.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on each video, of course.
Yeah. And so we sent it to her, she responded, like, wow, this is awesome, this is great, and then we're like, oh, we're going to get posted, we're going to get 10,000 followers, we're set, like, yo, and none of that happened.
Yeah, we also thought Paul was going to repost
yeah.
it. None of that happened, and the moral of that story is that you just can't get down on any of that, and you can't think that your art wasn't good because of that. You can't think that, oh, like, she said one thing but she did another thing. These managers and directors, like, they have a lot going on, and sometimes oftentimes is just they just forgot to post it, or like whatever. So you can't look into that. Like, or even if they didn't like it, you picked up something from that and you learned something from it. So like, it's a win-win no matter what. Like, just doing a video is a win. There's no negative to being out there and doing it. So
yeah, so we're unsure the reason why they never posted it. Like Warren said, there's like a abundance of reasons, but you know, we still got the nod of approval, and that ended up getting us a gig the next week. And this time it was Cascade, which we were very familiar with, one of like both of our top 5 artists for sure. So we were really excited at the opportunity for this, and this is actually where me and Warren kind of split up from dual videographers to,
for a second.
yeah, to like the more like managerial, like oversight to like videographer, because I was still working my accounting job, so I actually had to travel for this, so I didn't get to go to film this one. So this was Warren all on his own, and I mean,